Happening now at Randy Marion Ford in Statesville.
Randy Marion in Statesville continues to grow. We have added Mitsubishi on Folger Drive. So what does that mean? That means great deals on a new make and model in Statesville, but it also means Ford Pre-Owned is moved right on Gateway Crossing Drive beside the Ford and Lincoln new car showrooms. So come see us today, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln, pre-owned vehicles, Gateway Crossing Drive.
RandyMarionFord.com.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head through the rest of the evening, we'll still have clear skies, but that overnight low is going to be pretty cold tonight. We're dipping below freezing, down to 26 degrees. Thursday will be another sunny day, but that high temperature won't be much warmer. We're only looking at 54 of the high. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Welcome back to the Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM, and streaming video live to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and the website WSICnews.com. Call in 704-873-1400 if you have something you'd like to talk about. Not much opportunity to call in today. We are going to be hearing from Chris Milner, MRN pit reporter. He's been going around the entire Xfinity Truck Cup Series for the whole year. So we will be talking to him starting next segment and going into a second segment. So we'll have two full segments with Chris today, and you'll be able to hear that interview coming up in a few minutes. 704-873-1400 is the phone number, and if you want to win some tickets, I am going to be giving them away today. Yes. We have 4 tickets. It's a family 4-pack to the Southern Christmas Show. 704-873-1400. That is the phone number. Call in. Tell me who's playing football tomorrow night. That should be an easy one. 704-873-1400. There is Thursday night football tomorrow, and we have talked about it. There's been a quarterback change in one of these teams that we're going to be seeing tomorrow. So if you know who's playing tomorrow, call me up, 704-873-1400. If nobody gets it by the time we get through this first segment, you got about 7 minutes or so. We'll have to save it for the second segment, and we'll be a little backed up because I was going to give away more tickets later. But who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky and somebody will call in. Anyway, you're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC. I don't think I can go to sleep anymore. I don't think I'm allowed to sleep anymore because when I went to sleep last night, I woke up and we had an NFL coach get fired. I couldn't believe it. It was pretty sudden. So the Las Vegas Raiders fired coach Josh McDaniels and general manager Dave Ziegler. Cleaning house. That happened overnight. So if you were asleep, you might have missed it and you might not have heard of it early today. But that happened. Not only that, the interim head coach is former linebacker coach, former NFL linebacker, Antonio Pierce. He won a Super Bowl with the New York Giants back in 2007. He played on that team that beat the undefeated Patriots. And the first move that Antonio Pierce makes as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders is benching Jimmy Garoppolo. It will be rookie Aiden O'Connell who will be starting. And I thought this was kind of interesting because you fire the coach. Your interim coach is a former player. The former player is a former New York Giant. And who else would the Giants play on Sunday but the Raiders? Kind of interesting. I thought that was a cool little coincidence. So the first time Antonio Pierce is a head coach for a football team, he will be going up against his former team, who he won a Super Bowl with. I don't know where the Raiders are going to go from here because the one thing that I want to say is the Raiders are in a lot worse shape than the Panthers. You might not believe me, especially when you look at the standings and you look at how many wins the Raiders have. They have 2 more wins than the Panthers. How could the Panthers be in better shape? Well, the Panthers have a coach, first off. Second off, the Panthers know who their quarterback's going to be. So that's 2 right there. But a 3-5 team firing their coach this early in the season, I didn't see that coming. Now, I knew McDaniels had a short leash. I feel like everybody knew he had a short leash, especially after getting rid of Derek Carr. But only 8 games into the season and you get rid of your coach. Interesting decision. We'll see what happens going forward. I don't know if the Raiders decide to tank now and try not to win. And maybe they're benching Garoppolo because they know that the backup, Aiden O'Connell, is not going to be doing good. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But it's just an interesting situation because this comes a day after the trade deadline. Now, if you knew that you were going to be firing your coach, why wouldn't you trade some of your better players? Davante Adams is not happy at all. He had 1 catch on Monday Night Football. So why did you hold on to him? What is the point? Davante Adams is 30 years old. Yes, he did force his way into Las Vegas, but you can always get rid of him. He doesn't have to stay. He wanted to go play with Derek Carr. Well, Derek Carr is not there anymore. And now he has to deal with Jimmy Garoppolo, who apparently doesn't the mantra of he just wins and he's a winner. Apparently that's not true because he's absolutely not. 3-5 this year. He's been hurt a lot. And now he gets benched. Now, Davante Adams probably should have had like 5 catches and 2 touchdowns on Monday night. Probably. But Garoppolo missed him. And now the quarterback is Aiden O'Connell. He's a rookie out of Purdue. I don't know how he's going to do. I don't know if this is a good idea or not. But this is the aftermath that we're going to be dealing with of a coach and GM being fired at the same time. And the Raiders are pretty early into their Las Vegas career, I guess I'll call it. Their Las Vegas whatever. They haven't started out too hot. A couple of quarterbacks that they've burned through now. Not making players happy. You had the Chandler Jones situation earlier this year, which was a mess in itself. So that is the big news today out of the NFL. And if you're the Raiders, when you look at the contract that you gave Jimmy Garoppolo, man, is this a good one? Let's talk about this before we go to the break. So Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback, was given a $55 million contract. Huh? Yeah. That's right. Now it's over a few years, and okay, all that's good, but you have to pay him. And now you're not even going to play him. So I don't know where the Raiders go in the future here. All right. When we come back, we're going to hear from Chris Wilner, pit reporter for MRN. We'll have 2 segments with him, so unfortunately nobody won the tickets yet. We'll have to try and give them away in segment number 4 today. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC. Back after this.
More of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg is coming up on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thanks to everyone who came out to the WSIC yard sale in Statesville. It was so much fun to celebrate with the world-famous Pat Shannon and the entire community. Love bluegrass music? Chatham County Line is coming to Kane Center for the Arts Friday night. Buy your tickets before they sell out. kanearts.org. Chatham County Line, this Friday night. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the show starts at 8. kanearts.org. The 20th Annual Pumpkin Fest is this weekend in downtown Statesville. Starting at 10 a.m., come out to downtown Statesville for Pumpkin Fest, a full day of fun for the entire family. Pumpkin Fest, downtown Statesville, Saturday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. For more info, visit downtownstatesville.com. Santa is coming to town. Schedule your time to take pictures with Santa at Birkdale Village. Spots are limited and must be scheduled in advance. Santa will be at Birkdale between November 19th and Christmas Eve. Appointments include time with Santa and 8 digital images from a professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 19th. Time travel to a land of legends. Jousting knights, mermaids, fairies, dragons. Oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last. Don't miss it. Don't miss the Renaissance Festival. Sponsored by Visit Lake Norman. Visit Lake Norman, the lakeside of Charlotte. Huzzah!
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head through the rest of the evening, we'll still have clear skies, but that overnight low is going to be pretty cold tonight. We're dipping below freezing, down to 26 degrees. Thursday will be another sunny day, but that high temperature won't be much warmer. We're only looking at 54 of the high. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Hi, this is Joshua Dobie. Join me Thursdays at 4 p.m. for Dollars and Cents, a show that focuses on your personal financial journey and the markets around us. That's Dollars and Cents, Thursday afternoons at 4, here on WSIC.
All right, and welcome back. You're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9 100.7 FM. And I told you we'd have a very special guest with us here today. We're talking with Chris Wilner with MRN. He's been in the pits for most of the season this year, watching Xfinity, NASCAR, everything there is NASCAR. And he does a lot of other things around the area, too. I saw you got your start with the eNASCAR League and commentating that. Is that right?
Yeah, that's one of the first motorsports ventures I ventured into after being in local TV sports for about 5 years. And never in my life up to that point did I think I'd ever commentate about virtual, racing on a console game. As a kid growing up, I used to play NASCAR Thunder, 2002, 2003 on PlayStation, but never did I think we'd have a platform to where we would be live streaming and broadcasting races, especially out of the NASCAR Productions building here in Charlotte. So that opportunity came across the desk, jumped on it, and it was a pretty cool experience for the year that we did it out of NASCAR. It was definitely a rewarding and unique experience that I will cherish.
Yeah, it definitely is unique. It's something new that NASCAR has been doing over the past few years. And I'm just curious, like, how does an opportunity like that present itself?
Well, it was one of those things that it was right place, right time. When I moved to Charlotte from Indianapolis, which is where I grew up, 5 years ago now. I just started out as a production assistant and an associate producer doing behind-the-scenes work. I was editing videos for Fox as part of their coverage, editing some digital pieces, and the folks there knew that I was a on-air talent, trying to get my name out there and to get some motorsports opportunities, and that was kind of my first shot. My boss actually said, hey, we're doing this eNASCAR deal, and your name came up, want to give it a shot, and I auditioned and ended up getting the role for the year, and that's kind of what snowballed some other opportunities, of course, leading to the Motor Racing Network, some NBC work, and stuff like that. So right place, right time, which in this industry, that's pretty much how most of these deals come together. So was blessed for sure.
Yeah, that seems to be a common thing with most people in this business is, you're just kind of in the right place at the right time, and it fell into your lap. So I'm glad that worked out for you. And I see that you also do things over at Millbridge Speedway in the local area for our community also. Tell me a little bit about what you do over there.
Yeah, so, I've been fortunate to be a part of Flow Racing and their broadcast of the Chili Bowl and Tulsa Shootout, so micros and midgets, which is stuff I used to grow up racing back in Indiana. And so when I moved to Charlotte, I said, man, I'd love to have an opportunity to give back to the local racing community and find my home track down here in the Charlotte area. And, I've heard of Millbridge Speedway before and wanted to come visit. I went up and watched a few races. They just debuted micros that year in 2019, and which is what I used to race. And I said, man, if you guys ever need any help announcing, I'd love to be part of it. And sure enough, the next week they didn't have anybody, and Ashley and Jeremy Burnett asked me to fill in, and I did. And the rest is history. I've been doing it now since 2020. So it's been fun to be kind of their weekly guy on Wednesday. We run a midweek show, which is nice. As far as my travel schedule, it doesn't interfere with any of the other NASCAR commitments and dirt racing commitments that I have. So it's been fun to watch some of our young kids now grow up and race into micros and outlaw karts. And then obviously Millbridge Speedway being in kind of NASCAR's backyard, a lot of the NASCAR drivers have wanted to be a part of it, and micro sprint racing has grown. So Kyle Busch and Sheldon Creed and Ross Chastain, Daniel Hemrick, a lot of NASCAR drivers now have taken to the track at Millbridge just to get some extra seat time on a Wednesday night, and it's been fun to be a part of that and that race being broadcast on Dirt Vision. Yeah,
that track is really cool. I've been there a few times, so I've seen Brexton race there. One of my friends, his sister races there. Her name's Lacey Furno. So I'm pretty familiar with that area, and it's a really nice track, and I've always had a good time over there. Getting into kind of the meat and potatoes here, though, of the reason that we have you on today, we have a championship to race for on Sunday. Now, I want to start with the Xfinity Series, because even leading into this championship race, we had an incident between a couple of RCR cars at the Martinsville race. During the last restart, Sheldon Creed, Austin Hill got into each other. And there was some bad blood, it seemed like, between those two drivers. What was the atmosphere on pit road like after that? Because we've seen the video of Andy Petrie walking up to Sheldon Creed. We've heard the comments from Richard Childress. So what was kind of the atmosphere like after that race?
Yeah, it was tense for sure. I think it was also just in the moment because you had an incredible finish, and then you also had the aftermath of what led to that incredible finish, which was the contact between Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed. And this has been brewing for quite some time. I mean, Sheldon announcing several weeks ago that he was leaving RCR, and, RCR, it's an organization, a championship-level organization, as we know, but they're also a company that if you decide that you're not one of them anymore and you want to move on, they're pretty much done with you. And so it's made life for Sheldon a little bit hard. And obviously the race at Bristol several weeks ago when those two got into it kind of sparked some of that animosity between Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed, who even Austin Hill, when I interviewed him post-race, said we were buddies, in the Truck Series and then moving up to the Xfinity Series. But one too many times, it just feels like these drivers around each other got into each other. And then, of course, it boiled over racing for a win at Martinsville. And the atmosphere certainly was tense. Austin walked back, had to go visit the care center, was clapping at the two pit box of Sheldon Creed, which those guys had nothing to do with how that race played out. So that was kind of disappointing to see. But then, like you mentioned, the comments from Andy Petrie on pit road, not a good look for the organization. But I get it. Tempers were hot because here's an organization that had a shot to get two of its drivers, both of its drivers, into the championship 4, and now none of them are going to be able to race for a championship because of the way it went down. So I think if you're all parties involved and you go back and you look at the finish, you may think, okay, I could have done that differently. But again, Sheldon had to win. Austin didn't have to win, but as soon as contact happened, it was pretty much the gloves were off at that point.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with that. Right from the start of that restart, you saw Austin Hill get up a little bit in 1 and 2 and door Creed a little bit. And there's been so much conversation between fans and reporters and, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s comments on his podcast. From your perspective, as somebody who has been behind the wheel of a race car driver, did anybody step over the line during those last 2 laps, or is this solely just the emotions of trying to get into the championship race?
I think from a race car driver's perspective, the actual racing that happened, I don't really have a problem with. The only problem I have is both drivers should understand the situation that each other is in and should have recognized what they needed to do in order to ensure what's best for the company. Because, again, they race for RCR. They race for Richard Childress Racing. They don't race for themselves. And they had an opportunity to do what's best for the company, and neither took that chance because they were thinking more about themselves. So as far as the action on the track, I thought Sheldon gave Austin plenty of room, even with the contact, gave him a chance that, on the white flag lap, they were side by side to turn 3 and 4. Unfortunately, though, what I learned later, actually this week, was that the initial contact into turn 1 on the restart, something broke in Sheldon's car, because when the car came back to the garage area, something in the control arm and the front end of the steering broke. So that's kind of the reason Sheldon had to almost what looked like brake check in turn 3 and 4, because he could not steer the race car to the left any harder than he was. So had to get the car woe down. So that explained a lot, at least from Sheldon's perspective, on why that happened. But again, going into that restart, there should have been already knowledge over the radio saying, hey, Austin, you don't need to win the race them hard, but if you need to, tuck back in and finish second. But as soon as Austin doored the 2 of Sheldon Creed going into turn 1, I think that just let them know that they don't care and they're ready to go race for the win and ultimately try to settle it out that direction, and it didn't pan out. So from a racing perspective, I didn't have a problem with it, but as a driver, you need to be aware of the situation that you're in and that your teammates in, and maybe have a little bit cooler of a head. And for Austin Hill, could have finished second, and we'd be talking about both of them racing for a championship this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with that. It does come back to the drivers should probably know exactly what situation they're in and who is in a must-win situation. But we move on. We go to Phoenix. And for the Xfinity Series, we have Sam Mayer, Justin Allgaier, John Hunter Nemechek, and Cole Custer going for that championship. How do you think this one shakes down?
Man, it's so tough. I think when you look at, the Truck Series and the Cup Series, you could probably pick 2 drivers of the 4 that probably have the best shot. But with the surprise late season surge of Sam Mayer, I honestly have no clue, because this Xfinity Series championship season has played out in ways that I didn't even imagine would, if you talked to me about 6 months ago. So it's hard for me to pick. I think it's hard to go against the Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing with John Hunter Nemechek. They've performed so well at Phoenix, over the years, no matter who's been behind the wheel of that race car. So I think when you look at consistency and as far as just overall speed week in and week out, John Hunter may be the favorite. I think Justin Allgaier is really good at Phoenix just overall. They just can't beat themselves and get themselves in a position where they have to be desperate, because I don't know if he can replicate what he did at Martinsville. So they'll have to be fast right out of the gate. But again, then Sam Mayer, he's kind of the wild card, and he's grown into his own, right? He's had some incidents on the racetrack, and he's a young kid, not even 21 years old. But I also think if he's fast, he's not going to care, and he will do whatever it takes to win the race. So it's hard to pick. And then Cole Custer, who's kind of lurking there, is always up front. You just kind of, with him, I don't know, week in and week out what kind of speed he has. So if I had to choose, I would say probably John Hunter Nemechek as he bids farewell to the Xfinity Series before going Cup racing. But honestly, the Xfinity Series, it is so hard to pick just one driver.
Yeah, no, I'm at a loss for this one too. But we're talking to Chris Wilner with MRN Pit Reporter. We're going to head to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be talking a little bit of the Cup Series and the rest of the regular season and playoffs, recapping that. So stay with us here on the Scoreboard. We'll be back after this.
For a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-989-1754. 800-989-1754. 800-989-1754. That's 800-989-1754. Paid for by Term Direct.
Now that the Panthers have a victory under their belts, they plan to keep it going moving forward as they get ready for another home game this Sunday versus Indianapolis. I'm Jim Zoki with a Panthers update after this.
The only way to be your best self is with your best health. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before, so that you can enjoy more of the moments you love. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully with Atrium Health.
The Panthers are coming off their first win of the season. Now look to keep it going with the Indianapolis Colts up next. Coach Frank Reich says they have some good things to build from, but also some areas to improve upon moving forward.
On offense, I think you can see it in fewer penalties, fewer turnovers. I think the execution is getting better and better. I think defensively, same thing. We got back to, we played good run defense. We did a good job of limiting their explosive passes. For us to take a next step, it's going to be eliminate mental errors. That's a big next step for us.
Third-year tight end Tommy Trumbull scored his second touchdown of the season in the win over Houston. He says even when they weren't getting the results they wanted, they were able to stick together.
I think that's the strength of this program, man. A lot of guys want to win, and a lot of guys want to help each other win. And so really just keeping I guess, that positive mindset, lifting each other up when we're not feeling the best about stuff. And this team is the best I've ever been a part of doing that and keeping that positive mindset.
This Sunday, the Panthers host a 3-5 Indianapolis Colts team that has lost 3 games in a row while giving up an average of over 38 points per game in that span. They also are, of course, without their rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson for the rest of the season, with Gardner Minshew in his place. I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Morris Jenkins.
Now, more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And we are back. You're listening to the Scoreboard, WSIC 105.9 100.7 FM. Still joined by our guest today, Chris Wilner with MRN. Chris, there was a lot that happened in the season this year, especially the Cup Series with all of the new venues that we're going to this year. We had, Nashville was back, Chicago Street Course Race, which you informed me that you were at that one. What was one of your favorite moments from the Chicago weekend?
I think the biggest thing for me was just you had a bunch of people in downtown Chicago that were just starstruck that there's Cup cars racing down Michigan Avenue while some folks are doing their shopping, for the weekend. So you had people completely brand new to the sport of NASCAR, did not know a thing about what was going on, but suddenly over the course of the weekend, the crowds got bigger. Obviously we documented Mother Nature dumped a lot of rain. I think it was record rainfall in the Chicago area there on Sunday that made it interesting. But at the same time, I think the weekend in general was just a celebration of NASCAR taking yet another step into making things different, looking forward to this new era, bringing in so many new fans, new venues. No one ever thought we would race on a street circuit, let alone down Michigan Avenue and in Millennium Park and Grant Park down there in Chicago. And I think it was just so cool. The venue was fantastic. Obviously the racing with Shane Van Gisbergen picking up the shocker upset win in his first Cup Series start just added to the allure of the event. And it's only going to get better. It's signed back on for next year, and I'll be a part of that broadcast as well. Hopefully this time we don't have to worry about standing water and tires floating down pit road like we saw this year. At the same time, I just think that right there, mixed in with North Wilkesboro and Nashville, and of course, when we went to the Clash beginning last year, you just look at where NASCAR's headed. They are not afraid to take risks, and I love that because our sport to grow is going to have to continue to blaze new trails, and Chicago was just an example of that.
Yep, and I think they did a very good job of not only doing that and blazing new trails, but introducing a bunch of new fans to NASCAR. That's what NASCAR needs, and I think they did a really good job of it with all the new events they had this year. Now, we have a few minutes left here before I have to let you go, so we got to at least touch on the Cup Series and the championship that we'll be racing for on Sunday. I don't know how many people at the beginning of the year expected for William Byron to have the season that he had, but he backed his way into the championship 4 after a very subpar run at Martinsville. Is he no longer the favorite in your eyes, or does he still get a pass from one bad week with all the wins he's racked up over the course of the season?
Yeah, I don't think you take him away as being a favorite. While Martinsville was a disappointment, they kind of knew that going in. The car was not where they wanted to be in practice and qualifying. I spent some time with crew chief Rudy Fugle and William there on Saturday, and they just couldn't quite figure out the balance. But again, you're rewarded in this playoff system by performing so well over the regular season and racking up those stage points and playoff points that William was rewarded by having a little bit of a buffer. Now, to his credit, he fought because he was not only under the weather and severely dehydrated. The cooling system in the car failed. It was, of course, almost record temperatures for, October 29th at Martinsville, where it was 85 degrees at the height of the afternoon, and William was flat out beat. And Rudy Fugle kept coming over the radio saying, keep fighting, and he was able to punch his ticket. So while, yes, it was a disappointing run, I think Williams should be proud by the way they fought, and they're going to turn right around and go to a racetrack that he is so good at, picking up the win back in March at Phoenix and going to try and now go win a championship by doubling up. So I wouldn't say he was taken away as being the favorite. I think when you look at momentum, maybe he lost a little bit just because of all the things that they battled at Martinsville, and then you look at you know what Ryan Blaney was able to do, and, of course, Kyle Larson. But I certainly think he's still, with his body of work, that they feel like they're still the favorite, and it would be hard not to still label them as one of the favorites.
Yeah, and as we go to Phoenix, like you said, William Byron did pick up that win earlier in the season. I'm curious, though, because since we've done this elimination style one race to win the championship system, the Cup Series has not seen a non-championship Ford driver win that final race of the year. Kevin Harvick's going to be retiring at the end of this year. He is one of the all-time greatest drivers, not only at Phoenix, but in the series as a whole. Could this be the year that we finally see a non-Final Four driver take the checkered flag?
You know, I'm not sure, but I tell you, the race fan in me, in putting my broadcast aside, because, of course, we're not supposed to be biased, I would love to see Kevin Harvick walk it off with a career-ending win at Phoenix, especially when you look at the success there with 9 victories over his career, like 1,700 laps led in his career starts. I mean, he has 20 straight finishes of 9th or better. That is most than anyone at any track on the Cup Series. So, yes, the attention turns to, can Kevin Harvick do it? And I think Phoenix is his best shot. Obviously, it's his last race, but it's a track that he's probably the best at over the course of his career. He would probably be one, as well as maybe his SHR teammate Chase Briscoe, who won there last year and has been doing well at Phoenix. But it's hard because I think the Championship 4 guys have had so many opportunities, and they've got teammates that help them out in the shop with data and things like that, but they're going to be on their A game. But if anyone's going to upset that trend and be a non-Championship 4 driver to win, I think it'd be hard to go against a Kevin Harvick, a Denny Hamlin, or even a Chase Briscoe as a dark horse there, just because of their success at Phoenix. Now remember, there's less pressure for them. It is strictly, let's end the year with a win. We're not worried about stage points anymore. We're not worried about, strategy and points racing. It's strictly go for broke. So at the same time, you have to keep in mind who you're racing with, because the last thing you want to do is rough up a Championship 4 driver and end their bid at a championship and certainly make your life a little harder going into next year.
Yeah, you do not want to get in trouble with those Championship 4 drivers, that's for sure. At the beginning of the playoffs, I was able to talk to Jeff Striegel, and he gave me his prediction. He said he had William Byron winning the entire thing this year. We've made it to Phoenix. Byron is still in it. Who do you have winning the championship?
Well, Jeff Striegel is a dear friend, and I appreciate his vote of confidence in William Byron. I'm going to have to go with Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson, it's not been a season like he had in 2021 in terms of the win count and the momentum, but Kyle Larson and Cliff Daniels find a way in pressure-packed situations to get things done. And we saw that, locking into the Championship 4 as the first driver to do so back at Las Vegas. He's had 2 weeks to go through and dissect Phoenix and get their Phoenix car as ready as possible, while some drivers like Ryan Blaney and William Byron and Christopher Bell had to, continue to focus on their race cars for that weekend. So Kyle Larson, to me, is the favorite because he's had the extra time, much like he did in that championship-winning season in 2021. And it'll also come down to the pit crews. And Kyle Larson's 5 team, with Cliff Daniels at the helm and the entire crew, I think there's only one of the over-the-wall members that is different than that championship-winning effort in 2021, because they won him the race back in 2021 off pit road in that late race caution. So if I'm going to put my money, it'll be on Kyle Larson. I think we're watching a once-in-a-generation talent, no matter what he drives. I'm biased, too, because I get to see him on the dirt track scene as well. But Kyle Larson knows how to deliver and when it comes to championship performances, and it'll take something like getting caught up in an incident or a mechanical failure or something like that to keep Kyle from potentially winning the second championship.
Well, there you have it. We have a vote of confidence for Kyle Larson. Oh, boy, it's going to be a great race on Sunday. Thank you, Chris, for joining me today. I appreciate the time and the insight into everything going on around NASCAR. Hope to talk to you again soon. We'll be right back here on the Scoreboard. We'll wrap up the show and head out on this Wednesday. Stay tuned. We're back after this.
More of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg is coming up on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thanks to everyone who came out to the WSIC yard sale in Statesville. It was so much fun to celebrate with the world-famous Pat Shannon and the entire community. Love bluegrass music? Chatham County Line is coming to Kane Center for the Arts Friday night. Buy your tickets before they sell out. kanearts.org. Chatham County Line, this Friday night. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the show starts at 8. kanearts.org. The 20th Annual Pumpkin Fest is this weekend in downtown Statesville. Starting at 10 a.m., come out to downtown Statesville for Pumpkin Fest, a full day of fun for the entire family. Pumpkin Fest, downtown Statesville, Saturday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. For more info, visit downtownstatesville.com. Santa is coming to town. Schedule your time to take pictures with Santa at Birkdale Village. Spots are limited and must be scheduled in advance. Santa will be at Birkdale between November 19th and Christmas Eve. Appointments include time with Santa and 8 digital images from a professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 19th. Time travel to a land of legends. Jousting knights, mermaids, fairies, dragons. Oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last. Don't miss it! The Carolina Renaissance Festival is sponsored by Sunbelt Rentals for all your equipment rental needs. Equipment service guaranteed. Huzzah!
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head through the rest of the evening, we'll still have clear skies, but that overnight low is going to be pretty cold tonight. We're dipping below freezing, down to 26 degrees. Thursday will be another sunny day, but that high temperature won't be much warmer. We're only looking at 54 of the high. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Hi folks, Pat Shannon inviting you to join me for the Home Ad Show. We help you sell things, buy things, celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, and have a lot of fun in the process. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11, here on News Talk WSIC.
76 years strong, and we're still the one. WSIC. News. Talk. Now.
It's The Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg, on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right. Final segment here on the Scoreboard. 105.9, 100.7 FM, and streaming to WSICnews.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. I still have a family 4-pack of tickets to the Southern Christmas Show, November 9th through the 19th. I'm going to be honest, I don't even remember what I asked that question to be. So here's how it's going to go. We got 10 minutes left in the show. If you call in, you're getting a family 4-pack of tickets. I'm feeling nice today. I'm also feeling tired. A little under the weather today, so we're just trying to make it through the rest of the show in one piece, get a good night's sleep, and hopefully we'll be back and better tomorrow. But some sad news coming across my desk here as I was playing the interview with Chris Wilner, and thank you again to him for joining me today on the Scoreboard. Hall of Fame basketball coach Bob Knight has passed away at the age of 83. That being reported by multiple outlets, ESPN, and multiple other outlets. So, unfortunate way to end the day here on the Scoreboard, but definitely some unfortunate news. Bob Knight passing away at age 83. I don't know if this is going to be a good segue or not, but we have a caller on the line. So let's go ahead and see what that's all about. Caller, thanks for calling into the Scoreboard today. What's your name? What do you got for me?
Hey, Joe, it's Morrow. You're dressed like an angel.
Well, I'm not
you
dressed
me off
like...
yesterday.
I know. Well, I'm not dressed like an angel.
It's the Texans and the Steelers.
Absolutely. You got it a little bit wrong, but I'm still going to give you the tickets anyway. It's the Titans and the Steelers tomorrow night.
That's what I meant to say. Sorry, the Titans.
That's all right. Well, you are the winner of the Family 4-Pack today for the Southern Christmas Show, November 9th through the 19th. We'll have them up here at Radio Road for you, so swing on by, pick up those tickets, and enjoy the Southern Christmas Show.
Thanks, Joe.
Absolutely, and have a good one. See, that's how we do it here on the Scoreboard. We feel nice, we give away tickets, everybody has a good day, and we make people's dreams come true. Dreams coming true, as always. Major League Baseball is still going on. I know some of you are probably like, man, it's November 1st. I thought it was the Fall Classic. I thought it was October baseball. Well, yeah, the World Series goes into November now, so it is what it is. But it may be over today. It very well could be. Last night, the Texas Rangers beating the Arizona Diamondbacks by a score of, get this, 11-7. What has it been about these playoffs in baseball this year to where all these games are high score? It was 10-0 Texas after the third inning. The game was over. Arizona tried to make a comeback, putting up 4 in the 8th and 2 in the 9th, but it just wasn't enough. The Texas Rangers take a 3-1 series lead. They go 10. Yes. Hold on. You're not prepared. This is one of the most insane stats in baseball, football, hockey, basketball, soccer, cricket, underwater basket weaving, polo. This is the craziest one. The Texas Rangers have gone 10-0 on the road in the playoffs this year. 10-0. They have not lost a game on the road. And while game number 6 or game number 5 is underway tonight in the World Series, that game is in Arizona. Texas Rangers have a chance to win the World Series and be the only team ever, I guess, since the wild card to not lose a single road game in the entire playoffs. And they had that series against the Astros where they went down 3-2 at home, and they won both games on the road. They were down 3, or not the Astros, the Phillies. You get what I'm saying. You get my head's a little bit swollen today. We're trying to make it through the rest of this show, but we will do it. So tonight, Texas Rangers taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for Texas, and ace Zach Gallen for the Diamondbacks. I told you that story earlier in the week about Zach Gallen hitting a bird during warm-ups this year. It seems like the good juju of hitting a bird is not a thing. It probably is not a thing. I thought it would be. I was like, you know what? When the Diamondbacks won their World Series in 2001, Randy Johnson hit a bird. Zach Gallen hit a bird this year. But with 84 wins, it's kind of hard to win the World Series. The feat of getting to the World Series is one that the Diamondbacks better be proud of. All right, tomorrow we got NFL football. Tomorrow also, we are going to begin previewing the NASCAR championship race. I have quite a bit of audio from the championship 4 drivers, Bell, Larson, Byron, Blaney. I just noticed Larson's the odd one out with those names. Bell, Byron, Blaney all start with B, and then there's Kyle Larson. He's probably going to win the championship because of that. We're looking for weird connections and like weird things today, I guess. That's like the name of the game today. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. We will preview the Thursday night football game. And as I said, that one against the Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now the Titans have ruled out quarterback Ryan Tannehill. Don't know why he wasn't traded because Will Levis seems to be the future of that team, and rightfully so. He had a great game on Sunday, won the starting job away from Malik Willis, and Will Levis is in line to be the starter tomorrow. There's no real other big stories going on right now. Like I said, the one that came across my desk during the break was Bob Knight passing away at the age of 83. He is the 6th winningest coach in Division I men's college basketball history, 3 national titles at Indiana, and an undefeated season not since matched. He was 83 years old, and it was reported that he was having some health problems, so this is very unfortunate for the basketball community. Speaking of basketball, the Charlotte Hornets have been playing some basketball. We can't neglect basketball. As much as I don't think this community is paying attention, we do have a local team in the Charlotte Hornets. They started the year 1-2. Not great. But you know what? It's 3 games, so who knows? And we were talking to Ralph Lawler earlier. I think it was last week, actually. And he was telling me about the Lawler Law. First team to 100 wins the game. Well, we're off to a pretty bad start this year. 42-9, 82% correct. If the season ended right now, this would be the lowest percentage of correct Lawler laws in NBA history. Well, since they started tracking it in the 97 season. Just some food for thought, I guess, is what we'll say. Well, thanks, everyone. We're running out of time here today. We're going to be signing off. Thanks, everyone, for tuning into the Scoreboard today. Tomorrow, like I said, should be a good day. Before we go today, though, I do want to update. We've been talking about the North Iredell High School volleyball team making it all the way to the semifinals in states. They were in the Final Four, and unfortunately, yesterday, they lost 3-1 against Kings Mountain, eliminated in the Final Four, and they will not be playing for a state championship. But an incredible run by North Iredell, nonetheless. Nothing to hang your hat on there. No heads down. You went to the Final Four in states. You went to the tournament. You were in. You got to experience it. Unfortunately, North Iredell coming up a little bit short, but congratulations on the run. It was a great one. And I know a lot of the community was paying attention, so I just want to make sure that we shout them out and congratulate them on a great season, because that's it for some of those players, some of those seniors. They're done playing. And it's always bittersweet when you're playing your last game. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, hopefully feeling better and a little bit more energy behind the voice. But until then, you're listening to the Scoreboard on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone.